What's up, and welcome to Inside the Trenches with Sterling Furrow. That's right, that's me. But I am having a host, my dog, Rob T Radio, Rob Trujillo. He is one of my best friends. He lives out here in the Colorado Rocky Mountains. He's joining me. He's going to be joining. You're going to see a lot of him this year. But this is the inaugural show of Inside the Trenches. How you doing, Rob? What's good with you, man?
Brother? How you doing, man? I know you're a bit crazy. You're running around, but we got a Bills win to talk about, dog.
We do have a Bills win to talk about, and we watched that game together. I'll tell you that right now. For those of you who didn't know.
Wait, hold on. That didn't sound like you had the best time there.
No, I had a great time.
Okay.
I had a wonderful time.
We all heard the tone, dog. We all heard the tone.
I had a wonderful time. It's always a party, as Bruce Nolan would say. It's always a party. My guy Richard Rush is in here, man. What's up, Richard? How you doing, my dude? So this is it, man. This is the new show.
Can I just say I'm thrilled you're back on BR, hanging out with those Buffalo Rumblings fools. I'm so happy for you. I'm glad it worked out.
Yeah, man. I never wanted to leave Rumblings. Rumblings has always been my favorite home. Just a great place, great people to work with. And so when we figured this stuff out, I was like, yo, it's up. It's game time. So we're back doing the damn thing. But dude, I'm excited. You know, we had a week 1 win. We're gonna talk a lot about that. And then we'll kind of get into later in the show. We'll talk about what's to come this week. You know, we got a quick turnaround. You know, it's like we won't even get to let this game breathe. It's like we had it and now it's on to the next.
Yeah, and I mean a real unique situation because you get a bye week coming off the preseason, right? And then you play 2 games in 4 days. And then you get another 12 days off because you don't play till Monday Night Football the following week.
Yeah,
like,
bro.
It's kind of weird, right? Like it's just bang bang 2 games right out of the gate like that. You survived the first one, which it was a little bit more tense than I was hoping for. I just hope you survive this one too. And if you do, I think you're going to be in a real good situation.
Yeah, it's you know, sometimes I mean, the more Bills the better. But sometimes I kind of like to let it marinate a little bit. And it's just bang bang, you know, Sunday, Thursday. So we're gonna roll with it. My dog Julian, man, at Mafia Talk, man. This dude right here is one of the homies, one of the realest dudes you ever meet. Super nice, super kind dude. Shout out to my guy there. So let's jump into this thing, man. First, you know, I'm gonna run this show kind of like I did my post game show in a way. We'll get some guests on here, maybe some beat reporters. We'll get some national guys on here to talk Bills. But I set it up this way because, you know, I want to talk about maybe some of the feelings that we had coming into the game. I think that's a proper thing to do, seeing how we had the off season, which was, you and I were talking, Rob, and it really feels like one of the longest off seasons I've ever experienced in my entire life. It just is long and it drug out. And so we'll talk about our feelings coming into it and kind of how the story is going to unfold this season with this team. So, you know, we come in here week 1. It's the Arizona Cardinals, right? And I don't know how excited you were about this game, but
it was definitely uninspiring opening day matchup, no doubt about it. You get them every couple of years. You get like the Seahawks, you know, to kick off the year. It's like, come on. So I feel you there. It was uninspiring, no doubt, but there was a lot of angst. And I think maybe playing a team, maybe the Cardinals are better than people think, but I think playing a team like the Cardinals, who not as touted of a foe, might have helped. You know what I mean? Might have let you get your feet wet a little bit here.
Yeah. It's I'll tell you this. It feels really good to see Josh Allen play football. I'll tell you that. Just the electricity that he brings is just fun, man.
And you had the full gamut, right? The fumble on that first drive was, I mean, brutal, you know? But it was something that you decide you're gonna live with because you want to see him extend plays like that.
Right.
That's where he's at his best. So you don't want to take that away from him. You know what I mean? And yeah, I think it was Ross Tucker on the broadcast who was like, he's got a guy open. Why doesn't he let it rip? And yeah, there are some times where you have that conversation about Josh Allen. Does he not see it? Does he not like it? What doesn't, you know what I mean?
Right.
But if you only look at that during the negative plays, then all those second play touchdowns that he scores, you got to take those out too. And you don't want to do that. So it was the full Josh Allen experience. You got a hurdle out of it. You got 2 touchdown passes. It was good to be back. It's good to be now. That's how I felt about Josh in that game. It was good to be back.
Yeah, it was Josh Allen. I mean, we could start with him. 18 of 23, 232 yards, and he only had like 3, I recall 2 or 3 passing attempts in the first half. So, a lot of that production came in the second half. And he kind of, he lit it up in the second half, but that first half, I mean, you talk about Codrington with a 53-yard return, and you're thinking, okay, like the locomotive is moving, and Josh is about to put this ball in the end zone. And then, like you mentioned, the sack fumble. And, looking at the all-22, it's a bad play by Josh. He could have avoided that, right? Like, it is no question. But the thing about it is, after watching the all-22 today, last year we saw Josh Allen turn down open receivers for different reasons. Maybe he didn't see it, or he wasn't comfortable, or he was looking for something else to open, or maybe sometimes he didn't expect the guy to be open. Maybe it was like the third, fourth read, or etc. And he had Samuel over the middle, wide open, to the point where Samuel is like, yo, like he's calling for the ball, and Josh Allen hold on to the ball, gets sacked, he fumbles, and then here we go.
And it dug you into a little bit of a hole. There's no doubt about it. I mean, there was a point when it was 17-3 where it was like, all right, you got to do something on this drive. Not I'm worried or anything like that, but just realistically, you need to do something to stem the tide here. And they did. You know what I mean? They went full Josh Allen, full Buffalo Bills. What's amazing about that stat line, if I can just go back to that for one second.
Sure.
That stat line, you said 18 of 23. First of all, let's talk about the efficiency. 5 incomplete passes. I mean, come on. That's amazing.
That's amazing.
Right. That is a guy who is in his flow, right? Like he is a fully developed NFL quarterback, and 5 incomplete passes is incredible. Then the second thing I want to point out is I believe there were 9 different guys that caught a football from Josh yesterday, 2 days ago. 9 receivers caught a pass.
9 receivers. That Ty Johnson is on the box score here, but he had a target. So
9 receivers caught a pass. He completed 18 passes. Right? Like, I want you to think about that. Like, that is incredible. That is incredible. And it, I think, goes to show you, we had talked before, you and I personally, about what is this offense going to look like. Dalton Kincaid doesn't get a catch until I think late in the third quarter, maybe in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
And he just had the one. Clearly, this is what they want. And this is what they were back in the John Brown, Cole Beasley days too, is everybody ate. Everybody ate. And if they can get back there, then let's go. I think that was really encouraging.
Yeah, it was encouraging. I guess the worry comes, because there isn't a lot of time on task with 80-90% of the guys that are in the receiving room, or in the stable that they have. So it makes you wonder, like, okay, like, what is this going to look like? Prior to the season, I'm going. If you take out Dalton Kincaid and you're looking at this receiving core, and you go, okay, to me, this is a bottom third wide receiver core, right? Like, so there was a lot of angst coming into this game. Like, how was it going to look? And look, they did a really good job of taking Dalton Kincaid out of this game, to the point where there was double teams, brackets. In zone coverage, these guys were swarming Kincaid, leaving other guys open. So I guess the positive thing to take away is like the efficiency of Josh Allen, and I guess we're gonna have to see him play a lot of point guard this season. What do you think about that?
And well, when you see that, what you need is then you need Mac Hollins to catch a touchdown over the middle. You need Khalil Shakir to catch a ball behind the line of scrimmage where you know you're going to get him the football, right? It's a called play for him and turn it into a touchdown. And
let's talk about that touchdown by Mac Hollins real quick. So going watching the film, you see Buda Baker. He's coming on the blitz. Josh recognizes it. He sees Mac Hollins. Mac Hollins, he did a really good job. I guess the veteran leadership and recognition on his behalf to know what to do in that situation where he crosses the face of the DB, had his head down, crosses the face of the DB, and he's right there. And Josh Allen put that thing right on the money.
And you don't know if it's a perfect call or a sight adjust, but either way, they were perfectly in step. He knew exactly where he was going to be. And, you know, when you were watching the back angle of the all 22, he throws the ball before Mac Hollins is even in the screen, right? Like that is the kind of communication that you need. So I know you were concerned about time on task, but those are the kinds of things that point to they've got a good rhythm. Now, can they keep it? We'll find out. But at least for game one, it looked like they had a good rhythm. And then my point on the Shakir thing is they're going to take something away. It's an NFL defense, right? Like an NFL defense will shut something down. But if you can still get the ball in those guys' hands, if you said bottom third wide receiver core, and it just made me say like Curtis Samuel, Khalil Shakir, can they be better than people think that they're going to be? And people already think Shakir is going to be good, but can he be even better than people think he's going to be? What he did on that play is what we have been begging for years. And like we have had joking fights with Dolphin fans about how Tua throws a 2-yard pass and Tyreek Hill takes it for 80 and all of a sudden he's got 82 yards passing, right?
Right.
Josh hasn't had that ever. We've always talked about it. Was it Emmanuel Sanders? Was it John Brown? Who is going to give him those yards after catch? Can we find somebody to do that? That touchdown to Khalil Shakir was a 0-yard pass. It was a run play.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you give him that weapon, if Khalil Shakir can be that guy, that you just have to get the ball in his hands. You don't have to scheme something immaculate for him. That's a good spot for this Bills offense to be in.
Yeah, they had over 7 yards per reception, yards after catch, which was really, really nice to see. We don't really get to see that from this Bills offense. And, you know, about Shakir, I just hope that he's utilized more. I know they went a lot of 12 personnel heavy, right? 12 and 11. So, you know, his I think his snaps were a little bit limited, but I needed to be to a point where he's too good to take off the field. And I don't know if we're there yet. Maybe it's by scheme or design. But I'd like to see that change. But you're right. I do like Shakir. To me, it's still a bottom third wide receiver core until you prove it. And because of the lack of targets or how they're going to spread the ball around, it's really going to be hard to recognize that statistically, how this receiving core shakes out in comparison to the rest of the league moving forward. Now, again, we're only seeing one game. So
can I fight you a little bit on that?
Yeah.
Because
it's not to be negative. It's not to be negative.
Yeah. No, I get you. You and I both were not happy with what they brought in terms of the receiving core. Not that we disliked any of the singular guys, but the group as a whole, we thought just not enough talent there, not good enough, right? But if you're looking at what happened on Sunday, if we're being really honest with ourselves, you got what you needed to get from each of the guys. For Mac Hollins, you got a vet wide receiver who was in the right place at the right time, made a couple nice catches, right? Easy catches, but nice catches. Khalil Shakir created after the catch, got open in the slot a couple times, was that kind of dynamic, talented playmaker you were looking for.
Right.
Curtis Samuel pulled some of the defense from time to time, right? I felt like he was enough of a focus of I need to be paying attention to where he is that they were able to get some run game plays off of just moving him around. And then Keon Coleman, he made a couple contested catches, one really nice down the sideline to get them inside the 20, inside the 5 for a touchdown. And that was a dogfight on that catch. Yeah. Back shoulder throw, he goes up, he gets it, he comes down with it and gets them and goal to go. So even though, yes, I agree with you, it was a little bit underwhelming what the Bills had done with it. If this was their vision, you got what you wanted from each of those guys. You got the plan. They gave you the skill that you were looking to get from them.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
They did. I got to see it against a formidable opponent. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you and I talked last week about the Arizona defense. It's not that good, right? I want to see them against a team where the defense and the scheme is a little bit better. I'm not saying Arizona has the worst defense in the league by any means, but I want to see them, you know, when the chips are down, that's what I want to see. I want to see how they respond. So, and on a positive note, they averaged 12.9 yards per reception. Okay. Out of the 9 guys that caught passes, 8 of them had an average over 10 yards per reception. That's pretty damn good. That's pretty good.
Well, and think about what those big plays were, right? It was Coleman going up and fighting for that ball. It was hitting Dawson Knox down the seam, right? Like, which we had talked about, those things being open if you run this offense the right way. Over the past couple of weeks, we've mentioned it several different times and different places that we've been talking, that when this offense runs properly, you should be getting guys wide open.
Yeah.
James Cook was open for a couple. Dawson Knox open for a couple. And yeah, Kincaid wasn't. But I think that's something that you work your way back to because he was getting all the attention. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. And if Kincaid has to be your Trojan horse, let it be. Because you know what? Keon Coleman had the most targets in this game, right? A rookie. So we talk about time on task. Well, Keon Coleman had no time on task outside of just training camp. And he came in and looked apart. Keon, when you go back and watch all 22, Keon had a great day, buddy.
Did he?
He had a great day.
I did not watch him specifically. Yeah. Tell me about
it. There are moments where, you know, we talk about one of the things, you know, one of the knocks on Keon Coleman was, you know, separation. And he showed the ability. I liked what he was doing in and out of breaks and stems. He separated. He was open. I mean, there's one where Josh had, you know, I think it was a 3rd down. Can't remember who he was. He threw it to, I think he threw it to Samuel over the middle, and he threw it at his legs. But on that same play, he had Keon Coleman. Keon Coleman blew the doors off the DB, stacked the safety, and was like, it was touchdown. If Josh saw it, it was a score. So I felt like Keon he could have had over 100 yards receiving that day. He looked really solid. Now we got to see it more and more and more.
Sure.
Because I think there are going to be times where, you know, they're going to have to rely on Keon to make plays. But, you know, I liked what he was able to do. It's very promising for a young guy, and he's super young. So I love that.
But here's the thing, right? So like Dawson Knox, 1 catch, 23 yards. Valdez-Scantling, 1 catch, 19 yards. And you had that other one that was open that Josh overthrew him on.
Yep.
Right. So it just goes back to me for like, I think what made me feel best about this was that every guy that you put in a role, I think kind of fulfilled that role. You know, if I get one shot to MVS just to keep the safeties on their heels every game, listen, MVS is not my favorite guy, right?
Mine either. I wish he wasn't on the team, to be honest.
But if he can do his job, which is to run past the safety once a game to make sure that they're not collapsing on him, what it does is it opens guys like Keon Coleman, if he can create that separation, to go 4 for 51 on 5 targets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yep.
that is what you want to see. And that takes a good offensive coordinator. And I've always liked Joe Brady, but I don't think we know for sure if he's a good offensive coordinator. But it takes a good offensive coordinator to scheme that the right way. And at least for week 1, it felt like they were in a good spot.
Yeah, and speaking of Joe Brady, to pivot here just a little bit, I like the game that he called.
Me too.
You know, he schemed guys open. Like he gave Josh Allen options, and I love that. Like I felt like watching, you know, our offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey last year. I didn't feel like there was enough baked in options for Josh Allen. You know what I mean? I think that kind of got him in trouble. And so, you know, if there's not options, then you know Josh Allen thinks he can make every play. He's going to start forcing balls to people. And we saw that, you know, if you look at the percentages to Gabe Davis, you know, there was interceptions thrown, forcing it to Gabe and forcing it to Stephon Diggs. But I feel like, you know, now I think the pressure is off to where he can just get in his bag, scheme guys open, play offense, and not have to worry about, I got to get it to this guy needs so many targets a game, yada yada yada. Because all that stuff kind of, you know, it plays into your processing as a quarterback, and kind of can get you into. I mean, if you have great receivers, it's a benefit. But if you're trying to work things out and be, you know, Josh Allen has to be the point guard this year. He needs to be Jason Kidd, or you know, he needs to be Jokic in a sense where he's just diming people. And I think that's how we're going to get the best version out of this offense. So I like the game plan. I like what I saw. Now, I do feel like, you know, there's no diversity on first down. I think they need to fix that, to adjust that. But I think this coaching staff is smart enough to go, hey, like if I'm seeing it on the couch, they got to be seeing and talking about it. So what are your thoughts on Joe Brady?
I kind of felt the opposite, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I was very happy. I felt the opposite of your last statement, which was, yeah, there wasn't a ton of diversity on first, I would say, or second down. You know, Yards Per Pass pointed this out. He's a good follow on Twitter. But he kind of said, like, Joe Brady has no problem calling the same exact play over and over until you stop it.
Yeah.
And man, when they were running that like mid zone play with James Cook and just ripping off 6 to 8 yards a carry, and the offensive line was feeling it, and I thought the offensive line looked pretty good, all things considered, and I had been on them throughout the start of the year. Man, you got a long season. It's a marathon.
So let me ask you a question then. So okay, let me kind of backpedal here and throw a question at you. Do you think the lack of diversity on first down and calling run plays, he just has so much confidence in this offensive line because they were one of the better units last year? When you talk about run and pass, I felt like they were a really good unit. So he's like, I trust my guys, so I can call these run plays over and over and over again on first down, and I expect to get production out of it.
How many times did they stop him? I mean,
like 3, 4, maybe.
And one of those was the fumble. Like they still moved the ball down the field. So when I say it's a marathon, not a sprint, I don't need to see all 200 of the playbook pages on the first week. And you got a short week with Miami coming up. I don't care if you run the same damn play 12 times if they're not stopping it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so you want to pound the rock with James Cook. If you're picking up 6 yards a clip,
yeah,
that's fine with me. And if you want to save page 2 of the playbook for a Thursday night game against your division rival, let's go. You know what I mean? And it's not even, I think this is what Ken Dorsey always had trouble with, is he would unload the clip in games like 1, 2, and 3. And then it was like, where's the I need a little innovation. I need to know what the next thing you're doing off that play is. You've run this play now for 4 or 5 weeks. Now what's the next little wrinkle, right? And I hope we see that from Joe Brady, where, okay, we were running this play ad nauseum. They're ready for it. Now can I get a play action off of it and really hurt them? You know what I mean? Just something like that. Give me some of that evolution. And we'll see in time if that's something that he can do on a regular basis. But that offense was moving the ball so well.
Yeah.
I had no problem with the fact that he was just going back to the well.
Yeah. And maybe it's because also, the sample size was so limited in the first half. I mean, they really had no offense in the first half. I mean, shout out to Arizona. They dominated this game in the first half. And so, and then, when the Bills got the ball again, they were it was 17-3, and they kind of needed to figure things out quickly. So, that it had a great drive at the end of the half there to get a score. But
I mentioned it felt like, it felt like you better pony up here, boys.
mm-hmm.
It really did. And I was glad they answered the call. It was, I get it. They only had a couple touches. I don't know if you charted it, but I don't know how many snaps they had in the first half, but I can't imagine it's more than 20. Like, it felt like almost nothing.
Yeah, I did chart snaps, but I do not recall how many snaps per half. So
regardless, it just felt like they weren't on the field.
Point. That's a great point.
You know what I mean? So
I think all in all, the offense looked good. I would like to see more play action pass, and this stems from last year. I hope that's something that they bake in as time goes on. I think it'll be very pivotal for them to do that this week coming up against the Dolphins. We'll see, but that would be extremely nice. So let's move on to the defense, shall we?
Whew. You sure you want to do this?
Yeah. Man.
Because you and I are going to definitely fight about this.
Well, first of all.
Okay,
hold on. We're definitely going to fight about this.
Yeah.
However, I do think that the offense, to me, in the first half was too conservative. And I remember looking at you on Sunday, and I said, hey, they got to turn up the pressure. And they did in the second half. And it got Kyler Murray having to play quarterback, having to process the field. And I don't feel like he was great at it. I felt like, in the first half, he was able to execute, right? Like, it was just like, okay, there it is. Boom. I'm going to scramble, second half, they shut it down. But go ahead about the defense. Because I have stuff about them.
I just think you and I were looking at it two different ways. Yes, okay. I agree with you. I wanted to heat him up a little bit, but Kyler was hurting them with his legs, man. I mean, it was James Conner and Kyler Murray running the ball that really was killing the Bills' defense to start off with. And so I feel like you get in that situation when you middle it, right? Either heat him up and try to get the ball out of his hand and he doesn't have time, or you need to drop and play coverage and not worry about, rushing the passer. And I think the first half they went with we're not going to really worry about rushing him. We want to play coverage and we don't want him to think about escaping. And he was still escaping. So I think they went in at halftime, and listen, I have no inside information or anything like that, but it feels like McDermott maybe said, like, I'm going to give you a couple of suggestions.
Yeah. Had to. Half. I mean, because it was a totally different defense in the second half. It was totally different.
And now, they decided to heat him up, and it worked. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It didn't help that, Taron Johnson went out early, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, Taron's great. Taylor Rapp is the one that gets on my nerves.
That's what that I was gonna. That's exactly what I was gonna say. And I understand he's trying to play an aggressive safety position, but already ruled out for week 2, Taron Johnson, and
how many guys has Taylor Rapp hurt,
including himself? Remind you, right? So But I hope that that's something that we've had a small sample size and it's just kind of a freak accident thing, and it's not something that happens regularly.
So, and I get that, these are young safeties ish, trying to figure things out. I felt like there were some miscommunications on the back end. Saw that, uncover itself in an all 22. So I'm still concerned about the safeties. If I'm not, there is nothing about Damar Hamlin and Taylor Rapp that I go, okay, yeah, we good. Like, I'm worried about those two back there. Taylor Rapp, more Taylor Rapp than Damar Hamlin, to be honest.
I don't think I'm as worried as you are, and it's for the simple point of there's not a lot of things that I trust McDermott wholeheartedly on. Safety play, definitely one of them. Like, he is going to get the safeties and corners in the right position, lined up correctly. I have a hard time believing that isn't going to happen. So until I see real problems, I'm not going to freak out about it. I think the miscommunications that you're referring to are more because you had a guy who was supposed to be playing dime safety for you.
I could tell.
Who
We
ends
tell the
up
whole
playing
story.
nickel cornerback for you.
And Cam Lewis and Terrell Bernard, I felt like they played really well. Cam Lewis especially. That guy, it's like, you look at the roster and you go, Cam Lewis, like, he's been around forever. You're like, okay, there's nothing about Cam Lewis outside of his versatility that you go, yeah, great. But man, he really, like, Taron is great, but Cam was like, he held his own. I was impressed with him. He had 7 solo tackles. One
But
of
I
the
also
bigger.
felt like that contributed to some of the miscommunications, didn't you?
Yeah.
I mean,
It
there were
definitely
times
did.
you could see Benford or Douglas on the outside telling Cam to come to the other side of the field because he was lined up in the wrong spot. You know what I mean? Like,
Dog, if you could have watched Terrell Bernard, like Terrell Bernard, he had 10 solo tackles, okay, in the game. I felt like we didn't see his impact. Like, when you watch the broadcast, you didn't see his impact this week. Watching all 22, you go, okay, yeah. Terrell Bernard, like, he really held, to my opinion, he really held this defense together as much as he could. I mean, there was a lot of like talking in between plays, pre-snap, getting guys in the right position. So shout out to Terrell Bernard, defensive captain, because I felt like he played a hell of a game.
well, and it brings into question because at that safety position, you had, I think it was Ingram, come in and play some dime safety snaps too.
Mm-hmm.
And John here just threw it out there on Facebook, so I'll throw it up there if I can. Oh, maybe I can't do that. But he says Cole Bishop, is he going to be active this week? Mike Edwards, right? Like, what do we have that maybe is just a notch above DeMar Hamlin or Taylor Rapp back there that is coming back health-wise and maybe something that we want to insert into the lineup here? I'll also throw out Daquan Hardy, who you and I both loved in the preseason.
Yeah.
Now you've got an injury at nickel cornerback. I thought he played better outside corner than nickel, but you wonder if he sees some snaps coming up here, if this Taron Johnson injury is going to be long-term. So I thought on the whole, they played well enough, right? Like, I was okay with it. Thought you might even go good there. And there are at least other people that I'm comfortable inserting into that lineup to see if you can get a jump. You know what I mean? So I feel pretty good about the back end. I'm not going to lie.
I feel good about the corners. Again, it's a safety position for me. I would look, me and John Robert on the same damn page. I want to see Cole Bishop out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I was.
So you don't draft guys in the second round to sit. You know what I mean?
Like, we got to speed this
works.
process up. Like, I mean, I get that he was injured, and I understand that he wants to slow play him, but I feel like the upside that Cole Bishop has, Taylor Rapp might know the defense, but I feel like Cole Bishop might give you a little bit more playmaking ability.
Especially when you can give him specific things to do. And if you give him that dime safety package, he's got a very limited number of things that he has to learn and be ready for. And you can tell him to just go out there and make plays. You know what I mean? And so I agree with you. I think that's the way.
I mean, you're talking about a guy who's more comfortable in the box. So, you're playing at dime safety. You're not playing a deep third. There's some opportunities for you to make plays in and around the line of scrimmage or in that intermediate area. So the notion that McDermott and Bean don't like to play rookies, I don't believe that. But I do think, though, at some point, you gotta look, if you like, as much like, for instance, the communication, the lack of communication we saw on the back end, in my opinion, I'd rather roll through that with a rookie. You know what I'm saying? Like, give him the time on task. We can figure it out. They can figure it out. I mean, if McDermott is who he is, like, as a coach, like, put the rookie out there.
I get you.
But I understand where
I don't disagree with you. I just don't think he'll do it.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to do it either. But I don't know. I just, I guess I just like rookies. I like to get guys in there, get them acclimated, and because you're going to need them toward the end of the season. Let them work out the kinks now.
I also want to say Marvin Harrison Jr.
Let's talk about him.
Did you hear him? Now listen, there was the one blown coverage that he should have had a touchdown on. Don't get me wrong.
Clamped.
But hey, let's talk about those corners, dog. You know what I mean? Because if corners are doing their job, you don't hear about them. And guess what? You didn't hear a freaking word about Christian Benford or Rasul Douglas on Sunday. Is it a Kyler Murray thing? Maybe. Is it a Marvin Harrison wasn't ready for the stage? Maybe. Or it was just some real solid cornerback play going on in Buffalo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they didn't even try. I mean, Marvin Harrison, I mean, you have a guy like that. I'm throwing him the ball all the time. But
right?
I guess, I felt like they did a really good job between Benford and Rasul Douglas. They really hemmed him up, and there was nothing. Greg Dortch, he was their leading receiver, 6 catches, 47 yards. Outside of that, we didn't even hear Trey McBride, and we talked a lot about him last week being the weapon that he is, and the Bills did a damn good job. One of the things that I think, that I felt was the presence of Dorian Williams. I felt like he was solid. Seriously, Dorian Williams was solid. He was solid last week. He was solid. He had the athleticism.
We're getting along so well. Why do you want to start a fight?
I know you hate Dorian Williams. I know you hate him.
I hate him.
No, dog, you hate him. I even got you to admit it on Sunday, bro.
It's not that I hate him. I don't like him. Hate's strong.
Give him a chance.
Hate's strong.
Give him a chance.
Hate is strong.
Give him a chance. Would you rather have Taylor Rapp or Dorian Williams?
The reason that we talked about him on Sunday is because from the broadcast, forget the all 22, from the broadcast angle, you could see him on plays that it was his job to knife through and make the tackle. And TB's taking on 2 blockers, and the corner turns it back inside. And Dorian, that's your tackle. I need you to go make that tackle. And he doesn't make it, or if he does, it's 6 yards down the field. And it's just like,
you try to say he's doing a London Fletcher? Is that what you're trying to say?
I mean, I feel like that's even too complimentary for him.
Yeah,
I need you making that tackle at the line of scrimmage, in the backfield. Trigger, go. You're an athletic freak. Go.
I don't think it's as bad as you're making it.
I really didn't love his game. I really didn't.
That's fair.
I would be exploring other options already in terms of guys I'm putting out there and who I think, because here's the thing. I don't like the way that he plays linebacker. He is the guy who is athletically way more gifted than everybody else, and he doesn't, because of that, his whole career, he's never had to mentally be ahead of the game because his reaction is so quick that he always
at the college game he can make up for it, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like, he has never had to outthink the game because he's always had the athletic advantage. And now he's with a bunch of guys on the field that he does not have the athletic advantage over. And so their bet was, by drafting him, they said, we can teach him the mental side of it. Mm-hmm. Okay, great. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. He's still a second late on all that kind of stuff. And so for me, you ask me, I think the most important thing about that is I don't think it complements Terrell Bernard. Now, granted, they weren't supposed to be on the field. That wasn't the plan, right? I get that. But I think you at least should explore if any of those other linebackers complement TB's skill set better than Dorian Williams does, because he is that quick processing TB. And like you said, he is the one shouldering this defense. So I'm trying to give him as much support as I can, because I think this year it's Greg Rousseau, Ed Oliver, and TB. And like, They better win you football games. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's like I could throw Ed Oliver in there. Like Ed Oliver didn't have his best game, but I felt like they were running away from Ed, just because they were trying to hit the perimeter so much. So to your defense, you'd like to see if a team is attacking the perimeter, I think that's where you should see a guy like Dorian Williams shine, because it's right there. All you got to do is click and close and go get it, right?
And he should be using his athletic ability to get sideline to sideline. Like that's what you're good at.
Right. So, because they were attacking the edge so much, it left guys like Daquan Jones and Ed Oliver. They were really not afterthoughts. Like their impact wasn't really felt because they're not that pressure through the middle. It's negated by teams going outside. That little off tackle run with James Conner, they ran that over and over and over and over again, and they figured it out in the second half. But again, like the improvement I'm trying to see is like Dorian has to improve in that regard. Like he's got to.
What do you think the Miami Dolphins are going to watch that film and do?
If A-Chain plays, it's a bro.
You don't even need A-Chain.
No,
fast enough to get that corner, to get that edge on him.
But A-Chain, he exposes that. I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a concern. It is a real
Mike
concern
McDaniel
going
is
into week 2.
Eat on Thursday night if Dorian Williams doesn't play better. I mean, absolutely.
It wasn't that bad. I have more concerns about safety than I do Dorian Williams in this week's game.
Why are you trying to start fights?
Dog, I'm just telling you, bro. I'm just telling you, dog. I'm just telling you. Look, hey, you know what? Let's do this.
I played linebacker. It's a problem that I have, okay? I played linebacker and I was not well. Like I'm not, tooting my own horn here. I played linebacker and I was the unathletic guy. And it just always made me angry. The super athletic guy who doesn't get it, who doesn't put in the time. Because I got it. I had the headspace.
The headspace.
I didn't have the physicality, the athletic build to get there. So guys like Dorian Williams make me angry. And it's not that he's not trying.
You got to deal with your past. You got to deal with
Doug. I cannot stand linebacker. And I think if you asked any linebacker coach, they'd say, give me the heady guy instead.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen heady guys make a living at linebacker.
Why do you think they keep calling AJ Klein? That is what defensive coaches want. A guy who understands and can see it and can go. And I think I just don't know if Dorian has it. I really don't. It's nothing against the kid. Like you either see it or you don't, and for him, I just don't think it clicks.
All right, okay. So let's kind of pivot here. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to the Rumblings Network. Make sure you do that first, and then make sure you find all the shows on the Rumblings Network. Inside the Trenches is one of them. This is you're listening to it right now. We'll be here all week, all season long. So let's jump into the injury report. This was put out today. So for those of you who are watching vidcast right now, you just get to see it, but I'll read it off to you for those who are just maybe in your car or you're listening to this later. Josh Allen, left hand, and he's a full participant, so he's been cleared to play. Taron Johnson, unfortunately, with a forearm, he did not participate in practice today. Ty Johnson with a knee, he was limited. Quentin Morris was a full participant. He's dealing with the shoulder. Dwayne Smoot with a toe did not participate, so he's going to be out along with Taron Johnson for Thursday. Javon Solomon with the oblique. We saw him get this toward the end of training camp and preseason. He was limited, so that's a good sign. I would like to see Javon Solomon. I've been a big fan of his. And then the guy I don't want to mention, but Mitchell Trubisky. He was a full participant, and he's back. Trubisky. Anyway, I hope we don't have to see his face at all this year.
What's that famous quote? If 18 goes down, we're blanked, and we don't practice blanked. Have you ever heard that?
Bruh. Yeah, dog. Yeah. Hey, listen.
I feel that. If 17 goes down, we're blanked, and
oh yeah,
we'll figure it out afterwards.
Yeah. Josh, don't get hurt. So going into and we didn't even talk about Greg Rousseau, who was amazing, dominant. Greg Rousseau was dominant in this game. One of the things we talked about was the pass rush.
Okay, so I loved it too. I just want to real quick before you get to your thought.
Mm-hmm.
Don't we need that 16 more times?
Yes.
Like that should be the level I expect from him every week, right? Because I was thrilled with him. I thought he was incredible, but it shouldn't be a surprise anymore, I feel like.
Yeah, you're right.
Just like we talked about with Ed a couple years ago, and we still don't kind of see that consistency from Ed. Like you said, Sunday, not his best game. Now, it's hard from the defensive tackle position. If they want to scheme you out of a game, they will.
But you see Chris Jones dominate stuff like that.
Aaron Donald, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can do it. It's just you have to be a freak to do it. But same thing, Chris Jones. I mean, that play that he makes against the Bills in the playoffs, he's over the tackle, right? Like he's going against Deion Dawkins. So, it's hard from the DT position to dominate a game sometimes. From the defensive end position, it is not hard to dominate a game. And I feel like the next step for Groot is I need to see that every single week. It cannot be, it shouldn't be a talking point anymore, because just like we did with Josh Allen at the beginning of this podcast, we should show up on Tuesday every week and say, there was that man again. There he was again.
Yeah, you're right. You hit the nail on the head with that one. Greg Rousseau has to come into his own this year. And again, there are reasons why he hasn't done in the past. I think that was due to injury. But now you see the strength, like you see the frame, you see the counter moves, etc. You felt him on every single play this week, and that was a welcome sight to see. So much so that I felt like your boy Von Miller, he looked good. Von looked good. He looked good. I'm happy what I saw from Von this week.
I don't want to say I told you so, but during the game, you were a little upset with the pass rush.
I was, bro. I really was.
And what did I say to you? I think when you watch the All-22, you're going to be happier with it than you are right now.
Much better watching it through the lens of All-22 than in game.
I think Von had a real solid game. I think there is talk about that injury, right? And like, is he still ascending in terms of getting healthier, getting more explosive, getting back to who he was? Or is he getting older and this is kind of his plateau?
No.
But either way, I feel like he played solid. And then if you add in Rousseau being your ace there, right? And Von doesn't have to be your number one guy. He's got to beat a one-on-one. Well, sure, I'll take Von Miller versus a one-on-one all day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. If they can get a Javon Solomon healthy or Dwayne Smoot, I think it will help a lot. I didn't like the game I saw from Epinesa.
And preseason too, dog.
He had limited snaps preseason. I mean, it's one game, so I'll give him benefit of the doubt, but I would like to see him have more of an impact. So we'll see. He usually plays well against the Dolphins. Let's see. But yeah, the pass rush, I was pissed off watching it live. Like, I still think, if they had a guy like Shaq Lawson or a guy that just like outside of Rousseau that could just understand rush lanes and contain, Kyler wouldn't have had 57 yards rushing, but he's fast. So I'm going to give him that, whatever. But, there were some things that needed to be short up there, but the pass rush was good enough. It was good enough. So we got 10 minutes left on the show. Let's talk Miami Dolphins, man. The Bills have a big time matchup this week with the Miami Dolphins. It's in Miami. It's going to be hot. I'm sure it's going to be
hot. It's at night.
Yeah, it's at night, so maybe I don't know, but that's a great point because it's not during the day at 1:00 where they're exposed to the sun, so it's going to be dark, so it's going to be better.
It'll still be hot down there, but the big difference is, like you said, you're not in the sun while they're in the shade. So both teams are going to be dealing with the same amount of heat, whereas that's not normally the case.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I don't know what I feel going into this game. So let's talk about the injury report. Malik Washington, rookie. Uh he's listed with a quadricep. He was a non-participant in Tuesday's practice, according to Marcel Louis-Jacques. Devon Achane was a non-participant Tuesday through the walkthrough portion. Cameron Wolf reports that. And then Raheem Mostert was a non-participant. He's dealing with a chest. So, hey, listen. Yeah, I mean, look, if the listen, if that Dolphins defense is banged up, I like it. I like it. Because they're gonna need some help. The Bills are gonna need some help on offense. I mean, Josh handles he's got, but still, like if Achane's not there, and you got some guys on defense side of the ball not there, like I feel more comfortable going into this game.
This is the test of how in your head are they, and
Yeah.
it feels like Josh has it in his head he's going to win every time he goes there. And that's not entirely wrong, right? But they're a better team now than they have been, I think, at any point over his entire career.
Yeah.
And they're pissed. You're the reason. You are the reason, right? They had to go to Kansas City and get embarrassed in negative fucking 100-degree weather. Excuse my language. You're the reason. And so here they are, right? And it's not even like you had to wait till week 5 or 6 or whatever. It is right off the bat, and they're fresh thinking about it. And then you got a couple guys who are your boys, who now wear their colors, who are going to want their revenge. You know what I mean? Like they want a piece of you. I tell you right now that Poyer wants to hit Josh Allen. I'm telling you right now. Okay. So it's a huge test. It is a huge test because they might have the better roster. I'm pretty sure they do have the better roster. I don't think I even have to.
Yeah, they do.
Have to couch that.
They do.
They got the better roster, both sides of the ball. And guess what they don't have?
Josh Allen.
17. Right. And is he ready to be that guy, man?
If the Bills beat the Dolphins this week, oh man, it's gonna feel good to rub it in. they ain't got nothing to say. After this, they have nothing to say. Nothing.
I mean, they always find a reason to talk their noise, and bless them, because when it was the Patriots doing that to the Bills, I still tried to find ways to have hope. I didn't really have a whole lot, but I still tried to find ways to believe that the Bills were going to win those football games. Man, it'll be such a swing either way with a win or a loss in the attitudes of these two teams. And it's week 2 of the season, so it's kind of crazy, but
yeah, look, man, Jalen Phillips played in this game last week, had a sack. I didn't expect him to come back so fast. So shout out to him. But look, I
watched that game.
Yeah, I did.
Dog, they should have lost that football game.
They should have lost that football game. And you know what the crazy thing is? The Bills have a better offensive line than the Jags. So if their foundation in this game is to run the football, run it, and run it some more. And then you work in your play action, and that's where it's going to open everything up. So the Bills, I think they have a plan offensively. Defensively, when you got Jalen Phillips and Javon Holland, those guys are great. Jordan Poyer. Listen, put guys in position to make plays. So like the things that we saw from Samuel and Shakir, do more of that. You don't have to throw the ball down the field. You want to make guys make plays, right? So I think there's ways that the Bills can win. Tua, I'm not worried about Tua. Tua's a good quarterback, but like last week we worried about Kyler Murray and his ability to get outside the pocket and make plays. Tua, he has some of that ability, but not much, and he doesn't have a strong arm. So,
but I think this is where your fear matters maybe more than it will anywhere else on the season. Is your decreased level of safety play, I think, is really going to hurt you in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Because what those
especially when they test you deep.
Not only you knew that you were safe when they tested you deep, right? But
Yeah.
also those guys were getting the people in the right spot, making checks against checks. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff where everybody says you got to take Tua off his first read. Well, how do you do that? Alignment, assignment. You know what I mean? Like, make sure you're set. And that's what those two guys were incredible at. And then all of a sudden, when Tyreek Hill is going to run past you, they just happen to be close enough. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And I think this game, safety play scares me more for this game than any other of the 15 weeks.
Yeah. All right. So we talk about fears. Okay. I feel like every time we talk about
safe space,
it's a safe space. You know, therapy. We all need it, right? I feel like this is a game. I still feel like this is a winnable game for the Bills. It's a winnable game for the Bills. So 100%. Before we go, let's give our game predictions. We'll start with you and I'll end. Tell me your Josh Allen stat line, and then you tell me, give me another impact player on offense and defense, and your score, and we'll get out of here.
I told you last week that I felt like the Cardinals were going to play some kind of stupid game against the Bills, and it was going to be close, and I didn't like it, right? I don't think this one's close. Josh is about to go howitzer on these guys. And I think he wants to prove that it's him and not anybody else that is their daddy. I 100% believe he wants to go in there and teach Jordan Poyer a lesson. Like, I think he wants it, and I think he goes after them. I really do.
Okay. The fact that you have a prediction like that, they better win, because you usually do not have bold predictions.
They could easily lose. This is why I don't bet on my own team.
No, say it with your whole chest, bro. Say it with your whole chest.
You want my whole chest? I put my whole chest in there. I'm going to say 31-17. Like, I think they really blast them. I think one of those TDs comes late.
Okay.
I think it looks a lot like the Monday Night Football game that you just watched.
All right. I think Josh Allen goes 26-32 for 249, 2 touchdowns, 1 on the ground. I think James Cook is going to have a good day. Expect him to break a run over 30 yards in this game. I think he'll have over 100 yards from scrimmage and a touchdown. And I think, the Bills escape this game 28-20. I think that'll be the score. I think Terrell Bernard will have a really good game this week. But hey, we'll see what happens. But 28-20 Bills.
All right, give me Rasul Douglas making a play.
Rasul Douglas, interception or fumble? Forced fumble?
Interception.
Okay, Rasul Douglas, interception.
He's smart, dude. He's heady. I think he's gonna outthink Tua on one of these plays and just get in there and make a pick, make him look silly.
Give me Greg Rousseau 2 sacks this week. Ooh, that'll be 5 sacks in 2 weeks.
I was gonna say 5 to start the year,
dude. Listen, watching that game. Look, what's his name? Allen, Josh Allen, Grimes, or whatever the hell his name is. Yeah. He was feasting, bro. I feel like Greg Rousseau can have the same impact on these guys. So give me the Bills 28-20 in this game.
Listen to us 2 homers.
I know, right? And then it turns out to be complete opposite. But hey, we're here to make people happy. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to the Rumblies Network. We are back, folks. We got tons of shows, throughout the week that you guys can consume. We'll be here all season long. So make sure that you get in where you fit in. This is the Inside the Trenches podcast, and we're going to say the Bills are going to win. They're going to come out victorious in week 2. Can I get a go Bills?
Go Bills.
Go Bills. We out of here.